Have you ever wondered why some men walk into a room and immediately project strength, confidence, and presence, even without being the richest, the physically strongest, or the most popular? There's something hard to explain at first glance. It's as if they carry a different energy, a firm posture, a calm gaze, a quiet confidence that makes people naturally pay attention to them. And the strangest part is that many of these men never talk about testosterone, never display an extravagant routine, and don't spend their lives chasing miracle formulas to seem more masculine. So what's the secret? Maybe the answer is far more tied to daily habits than most people imagine. Today, we live in an age where thousands of men search for quick solutions to increase energy, improve focus, develop discipline, and recover mental strength. The internet is full of instant promises, miracle supplements, and shortcuts that guarantee extraordinary results in just a few days. But there's a problem. Almost nobody mentions real transformation rarely begins with something you buy. It begins with something you do repeatedly. And this is exactly where the legendary figure of Miyamoto Musashi comes in. Considered one of the greatest samurai in history, Musashi lived centuries before modern science discovered hormones, neurotransmitters, or any biological explanation for human behavior. Even so, he developed a warrior mindset so powerful that it continues to inspire millions of people today. His discipline was extreme. His self-control was admirable. His ability to remain calm under pressure seemed almost superhuman. And all of this was built through simple habits, practiced daily, without relying on motivation or favorable circumstances. What makes this story so fascinating is that Musashi wasn't trying to increase testosterone. In fact, he didn't even know that hormone existed. But the behaviors he adopted naturally created traits we today associate with strong masculinity: courage in the face of adversity, absolute focus, mental endurance, emotional independence, self-control, and a presence that's hard to ignore. Have you ever experienced this? Have you ever met someone who seemed to convey authority without needing to raise their voice or try to impress anyone? There's a reason for that. Most modern men believe that strength begins in the body. Musashi believed exactly the opposite. For him, everything began in the mind. The way you face discomfort, the way you react to difficulties, the control you hold over your impulses, the discipline you show when no one is watching. These are the small choices that, made repeatedly, shape who you become over time. And the most interesting part is that many of these habits seem ordinary at first glance. Some are so simple that most people completely ignore them, but when applied every day, they produce profound changes in how you think, act, and behave. Changes that affect your energy, your confidence, your mental clarity, and even the way others perceive you. That's why in this video, you're going to discover the 7 habits of Miyamoto Musashi that naturally increase traits associated with testosterone without most people noticing. We're not talking about tricks, empty promises, or quick fixes. We're talking about principles that have survived centuries because they work. Principles capable of turning ordinary men into more disciplined, resilient individuals who are hard to shake. And believe me, some of these habits may seem uncomfortable at first, but there's a very specific reason why they were considered essential for shaping a true warrior. Stick with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might surprise you. And it all begins with a principle Musashi considered indispensable for developing genuine mental strength. But before we get to the first habit, I want to invite you to do something. If you believe that a man's strength is built through the choices he makes every day, write the following sentence in the comments: I choose discipline over comfort. It might seem like just a sentence, but it sums up one of the most important lessons from Miyamoto Musashi's life. While most people spend their lives chasing comfort, men who develop true strength learn to choose what makes them better, even when it's hard. And there's something interesting about this. Most men already know what they need to do to grow. They know they need to train, study, control their impulses, drop distractions, and act with more discipline. The problem was never a lack of knowledge. The problem is that comfort offers an immediate reward, while discipline demands effort before it delivers results. That's exactly why so few people manage to build a strong mind and a striking presence. If this topic resonates with you, drop a like. That simple gesture helps YouTube recommend this content to more people who are looking to develop discipline, self-control, and mental strength in an era dominated by distractions. And if you believe more men need to hear messages like this one, hit the hype button too. That shows the platform there's a community interested in real growth, personal responsibility, and male development. And if you want to keep learning how to apply Miyamoto Musashi's principles to modern life, subscribe to the channel, because here you'll find content focused on absolute focus, mental resilience, eliminating procrastination, procrastination and building habits that strengthen character day after day. Your participation is what allows this message to reach more and more people. And now, to understand how Musashi developed a mental strength that has lasted through the centuries, we need to start with the habit that was the foundation of his entire life philosophy. Habit number 1. The discomfort that built strong men. Miyamoto Musashi understood a truth that most men still don't grasp. Everything that makes you stronger usually comes accompanied by some level of discomfort. While many people spend their lives looking for easier paths, trying to avoid effort, pressure, and difficulty, Musashi went in the opposite direction. He wasn't seeking suffering for no reason. What he sought was growth, and he knew growth rarely happens inside the comfort zone. This is one of the biggest differences between the common mindset and the warrior mindset. The common mindset asks, how can I make this easier? The warrior mindset asks, what can this teach me? It seems like a small difference, but it completely changes the results a person achieves over the course of a lifetime. Today we live in a world that offers comfort in practically every moment. It has never been so easy to avoid effort. It has never been so easy to seek distraction. It has never been so easy to put off important decisions. The problem is that every time we choose comfort over growth, we're training our mind to flee from difficulty, and a mind that constantly flees from difficulty ends up becoming weaker, more dependent on motivation, and less prepared to face life's inevitable challenges. Musashi saw every obstacle as an opportunity for strengthening. He understood that discomfort wasn't an enemy, it was a teacher, and that's one of the most important revelations for any man who wants to develop discipline, self-control, and mental strength. Now pay close attention, because this part can change the way you approach your daily decisions. Discipline isn't built in great moments of courage. It's built in small choices repeated every day. When you get out of bed at the first alarm, you're strengthening your discipline. When you finish a workout even without feeling like it, you're strengthening your discipline. When you do what needs to be done instead of what you feel like doing, you're strengthening your discipline. These actions seem insignificant when viewed in isolation, but behind the scenes of personal transformation, they're what create a mindset capable of resisting procrastination, discouragement, and distractions. This is how ordinary men begin to develop traits that convey strength, confidence, and presence. The hidden truth is that strong men don't wait to feel like acting. They understand that desire is unstable. Some days it shows up, other days it disappears completely. That's why they don't depend on it. They depend on their own principles. Miyamoto Musashi built his legendary reputation by following exactly this logic. He trained his mind to act, despite discomfort, not only when conditions were favorable, but there was another habit that powerfully complemented this principle and helped create an energy, a resilience, and a confidence that few men manage to develop today. Habit number 2. Train the body and the mind will follow Miyamoto. Musashi knew that a man cannot develop a strong mind while living in a neglected body. This is a truth many people try to ignore. They want more confidence, more energy, more focus, and more self-control, but they don't understand that there's a deep connection between how they treat their own body and how they feel every day. In samurai philosophy, body and mind weren't seen as separate things. They functioned as parts of the same system. When the body became more resilient, the mind grew stronger too. When the body weakened, the mind often followed the same path. That's why Miyamoto Musashi trained constantly, not only to win physical battles, but to build a mindset capable of withstanding pressure, adversity, and suffering without losing clarity. Now think about something interesting. How many times have you noticed that after days without moving, your energy drops, your drive disappears, and even your motivation seems lower? That doesn't happen by chance. The body is constantly sending information to the brain, and that information directly influences how you think, feel, and act. Now pay close attention, because this part can change how you see all of this. Many people believe they need to feel confident in order to act, but in practice the process usually works the other way around. First you act, then confidence shows up. When you train, run, lift weights, or face a physical challenge, your brain receives a powerful message. I am someone who faces difficulties. That message starts to shape your identity. That's why physical exercise produces an impact that goes far beyond appearance. It improves your energy, strengthens your posture, increases your endurance, and directly influences how you see yourself. Behind the scenes of personal transformation, every completed workout is silent proof that you're capable of doing hard things. Musashi understood this intuitively. Each training session reinforced not only his skills, but also his self-confidence. After all, when a man accumulates evidence that he can withstand effort, his mind stops doubting itself so much. The hidden truth is that many men are trying to build mental strength only through positive thinking, when they should be strengthening their own identity through concrete actions. The body talks to the mind all the time, and the message it sends can either be bringing you closer to your best version or pulling you away from it. But there was a habit Musashi considered even harder than facing physical discomfort, a habit related to mastering the desires, impulses, and temptations that silently weaken most modern men. And there's something worth mentioning at this point in our conversation. Many people watch content about discipline, focus, and personal development, understand the ideas, agree with the principles, but end up struggling when it's time to apply all of it in everyday practice. After all, understanding a concept is one thing. Turning that concept into behavior is something else entirely. That's why I put together a complimentary resource called The Path of Japanese Discipline, especially for those interested in these teachings who want to deepen this mindset in a more practical and structured way. It was created to help people who want to develop a more disciplined, focused, and unshakable mind, capable of acting even when motivation disappears, when fatigue sets in, and when no one is watching. The interesting thing is that this resource isn't built around temporary motivation or inspirational phrases. It covers ancestral principles tied to Japanese discipline, showing how to eliminate procrastination, control unstable emotions, and build that quiet consistency usually found behind the greatest results. It's exactly the kind of knowledge that can shorten your journey and help you avoid many mistakes most people make. If it makes sense for you, take a look at the resource I've left below. It complements much of what we're discussing here and can help turn these ideas into concrete actions in your daily life. One important note, this content could go offline or become unavailable at any time. So if you believe it could be useful for what you're going through right now, take advantage while it's still available. It's right there in the description, and honestly, it might be one of the most useful tools for anyone who has decided to trade comfort for discipline and start a real transformation based on principles that have lasted through generations. Now, understanding the importance of strengthening the body to strengthen the mind, there's an even harder challenge that Miyamoto Musashi considered essential for developing a true warrior: mastering one's own impulses. Habit number 3. Master your desires before they master you. Miyamoto Musashi believed that one of a man's greatest weaknesses wasn't in the enemies he faced on the outside, but in the forces silently acting within him. Uncontrolled desires, momentary impulses, constant distractions, and the need for instant gratification were obstacles as dangerous as any adversary on a battlefield. And honestly, this truth is more relevant today than ever. Today, millions of men fight battles daily without even realizing it, not against swords or armies, but against notifications, distractions, excess, procrastination, and habits that slowly drain their energy. The problem is that these defeats rarely seem important in the moment they happen. After all, immediate pleasure almost always seems harmless. The real impact shows up later, behind the scenes of life, when the loss of focus, the loss of discipline, and the feeling of stagnation start to pile up. Musashi understood something few people grasp. A man who doesn't control his desires ends up being controlled by them, and when that happens, his freedom disappears without him noticing. He starts acting on impulse instead of by choice. He starts reacting instead of deciding. He starts following momentary wants instead of following principles. Now pay close attention, because this part can change how you see all of this. True self-control doesn't mean eliminating desires. It means not letting them decide the direction of your life. There's a huge difference between feeling like doing something and automatically obeying that feeling. It's exactly in that space that personal power is born. Every time you resist a distraction to complete an important task, your mind gets stronger. Every time you choose discipline over instant pleasure, you strengthen your capacity for self-command. Every time you act based on your goals and not just your emotions, you build a more solid identity. The hidden truth is that most men lose small battles every day without realizing it. Not because they're weak, but because they've never trained their own mind to resist impulses. And what makes this so dangerous is that small repeated defeats end up turning into major consequences over time. Miyamoto Musashi understood that governing oneself was the highest form of power. After all, what's the point of conquering external goals if you remain a slave to your own desires? This was one of the foundations of the samurai mindset, and one of the reasons he developed such a strong presence and such an unshakable confidence. But there was a principle that further strengthened that self-control, a habit capable of directing energy, eliminating waste, and creating a mental clarity few people experience in modern life. Comment below. I command my mind. Habit number 4. Focus your energy in a single direction. There's a reason Miyamoto Musashi became a legendary figure centuries after his death. It wasn't just his skill with the sword. It wasn't just the impressive number of duels he won. What really set him apart was his almost unusual ability to concentrate all his energy on a single mission. While most people split their attention among dozens of worries, goals, and distractions, Musashi understood that true strength comes from concentration. He knew that a man who spreads his energy in every direction is unlikely to achieve excellence in any of them. That's why he eliminated everything. That didn't contribute to his growth. Every decision, every training session, and every choice was guided by a clear purpose. And here's one of the most important revelations for today. Most people don't suffer from a lack of potential. They suffer from too many distractions. We live in an age where our attention is fought over every minute. Notifications keep popping up. Short videos steal hours without us noticing. Information comes at us from every side. The mind jumps from one subject to another constantly. And the more fragmented our attention becomes, the harder it becomes to build anything truly meaningful. Now pay close attention, because this part can change how you see your own journey. Every great transformation requires concentration. No skill is built through distraction. No important project is born from divided attention. No strong mindset develops while the mind is constantly being pulled in different directions. Musashi understood that focus doesn't just mean paying attention. Focus means choosing what deserves your energy and having the courage to ignore the rest. That's the difference between people who live reacting to the world and people who build their own path. When you direct your energy toward a clear mission, something interesting happens. Decisions become simpler, doubts decrease, external noise loses power. You start to feel a kind of inner alignment, as if every action had a defined direction. That's exactly where the sense of purpose so many people search for comes from. The hidden truth is that scattered energy produces weak results, not because you're incapable, but because no force can generate impact when it's spread too thin. A ray of sunlight warms, but when concentrated, it can even start a fire. The same applies to your attention. Miyamoto Musashi built his legend because he learned to protect his focus the way a warrior protects his own life. And there's an even deeper element behind this ability to keep the mind steady. Amid chaos, something that definitively separates ordinary men from those who develop an inner strength that's hard to shake. Habit number 5. Stay calm when everyone else loses control. There's a trait that separates ordinary men from those who develop a truly strong presence. It isn't physical strength, it isn't intelligence, and it isn't even experience. It's the ability to stay calm when pressure rises. Miyamoto Musashi understood this better than almost anyone of his time. In many of his duels, his opponents were already defeated before the first strike, not because they were less skilled, but because they allowed fear, anger, or anxiety to take control. While they reacted emotionally, Musashi observed, while they panicked, he remained steady. While they lost clarity, he saw opportunities. This may be one of the most powerful skills anyone can develop in modern life. Now pay close attention, because this part can change how you interpret your own challenges. Most people believe the problem lies in the difficult situations they face, but often the real problem is how they react to them. A criticism triggers anger. A failure triggers anxiety. A rejection triggers insecurity. An obstacle triggers despair. And without realizing it, the person hands control of their own mind over to external circumstances. They stop acting with awareness and start acting driven by passing emotions. Musashi believed a warrior should govern his mind in any situation, not because he didn't feel emotions, but because he didn't let them take command. There's a huge difference between feeling something and being controlled by what you feel. And this is a hidden truth few people notice. Those who don't master their emotions end up being easily manipulated. All it takes is someone provoking their anger. All it takes is touching an insecurity. All it takes is threatening their need for approval. From that moment on, their decisions stop being their own. That's why emotional stability has become one of the most valuable forms of power today. In a world where almost everyone reacts instantly, whoever manages to keep clarity under pressure holds a quiet advantage. While others waste energy on unnecessary conflicts, that person keeps moving forward. While others get lost in chaos, they remain aligned with their own purpose. The transformation happens when you understand that strength isn't exploding in the face of problems. Strength is staying steady despite them. It's not raising your voice to prove something. It's not needing to prove anything. It's not reacting to every provocation. It's carefully choosing which battles deserve your energy. Miyamoto Musashi built his reputation because he mastered this rare art of remaining unshakable when everything around him seemed unstable. But there's an even deeper element behind this mindset, something that doesn't depend only on discipline, focus, or emotional control, but on a specific way of seeing one's own life and destiny. Habit 6. Acting even when motivation disappears. There's a huge difference between admiring discipline and actually living a disciplined life. Most people believe great results come when someone is inspired, motivated, and full of energy. But Miyamoto Musashi saw reality differently. He knew motivation is fleeting. It shifts with mood, circumstances, and the events of the day. That's why building your life around it is like building a house on sand. Musashi didn't train only when he felt excited. He didn't refine his skills only when he felt like it. He did what needed to be done because he had made a commitment greater than his momentary emotions. And this is one of the most important truths for any man who wants to develop a strong mindset. Now pay close attention, because this part can change how you approach your own decisions. Easy days don't reveal who you are. Hard days do. When fatigue sets in, when results take time, when excitement fades, and when no one is watching, that's when discipline is put to the test. Most people stop. They look for excuses. They put it off until tomorrow. They wait to feel motivated again. But the men who build something extraordinary understand that acting without motivation is a skill, and the more that skill is trained, the more powerful it becomes. The difference between amateurs and warriors rarely lies in talent. It lies in consistency. The amateur works when motivated. The warrior works because he has decided his goal matters more than his emotional state. But there's something even more powerful than acting without motivation. It's making sure that every day of effort produces real growth. Habit number 7. Grow a little every day. Miyamoto Musashi never believed he had reached his maximum level. Even after countless victories, he kept studying, training, observing, and refining his skills. This mindset was one of the great reasons behind his legend. While many people seek radical changes and instant results, Musashi understood the power of small accumulated improvements. He knew that true transformation happens behind the scenes, almost invisibly. One small adjustment today, one small correction tomorrow, one new lesson the next day. It seems small, but that's exactly how great results are built. The hidden truth is that almost no one fails for lack of ability. Most fail because they stop evolving, stop learning, stop correcting mistakes, stop seeking a better version of themselves. Now think for a moment. If you became just a little better every day, where would you be in a year? Where would you be in 5 years? It's this long-term vision that separates ordinary men from extraordinary ones. Musashi understood that excellence wasn't a destination, it was a permanent journey. And when someone combines discipline on hard days with constant growth on ordinary days, they begin developing an inner strength few people manage to reach. But there's an even deeper principle behind all these habits, an understanding that connects discipline, focus, self-control, and purpose into a single philosophy capable of completely transforming the way a man leads his own life. The man who conquers himself becomes unstoppable. If you look closely at everything we've covered so far, you'll notice that Miyamoto Musashi never just taught combat techniques. What he really left behind was a path, a life philosophy built on discipline, clarity, self-control, and personal responsibility. And the most interesting part is that none of these habits work in isolation. The discipline of waking up early loses its power without a body prepared to sustain that routine. Physical training becomes limited without mental control. Focus disappears when impulses take command. Emotional self-control weakens when there's no clear purpose, and constant improvement stops existing when someone depends only on motivation. It's precisely the combination of these principles that produces true transformation. Throughout his journey, Musashi developed habits that reinforced each other. He strengthened his body to strengthen his mind. He mastered his impulses to protect his focus. He cultivated discipline to keep moving forward on hard days. He kept learning so he would never become complacent. Everything was part of a system. Now pay close attention, because this might be one of the biggest revelations of the entire video. Many people believe that strength, presence, confidence, and energy are traits some people simply have, and others don't. But the reality is usually very different. Much of what others perceive as confidence, leadership, and personal power is the result of how someone lives every single day. When a man keeps the promises he makes to himself, he starts trusting his own word more. When he controls his impulses, he develops command over his decisions. When he learns to act without depending on motivation, he creates stability. When he stays calm under pressure, he develops presence. When he keeps growing, he strengthens his identity. And when all of this accumulates over months and years, something changes profoundly. His posture changes, his choices change, his mindset changes, the way he faces challenges changes, the energy he projects into the world changes. That's why many people associate masculine strength only with physical traits, when in fact the biggest change happens behind the scenes of the mind. The real increase in strength that others perceive begins in the way you live, act, and carry yourself through life. Musashi understood this long before most people. He wasn't seeking comfort, he wasn't seeking approval, he wasn't looking for shortcuts. His goal was to build a version of himself capable of remaining steady regardless of circumstances. And maybe that's the most important lesson of all. The decisive battle was never against other men. It was never against competitors. It was never against critics. It was never against external obstacles. The most important battle always happened within one's own mind, between discipline and comfort, between action and excuses, between growth and complacency, between who you are today and who you could become. And it's exactly in this silent confrontation that a man's destiny ends up being decided. Comment below, I choose discipline. And if you've made it this far, you probably realize this video was never just about Miyamoto Musashi. It was about choices, about mindset, about the silent decisions that shape who you become over the years. The truth is that few people are willing to look inward and confront their own weakness, but those who do start developing something that money, status, or recognition can't buy, mastery over themselves. If this kind of content resonates with you, subscribe to the channel because the next videos will challenge your thinking even more and show principles that remain relevant centuries after they were first taught. And I also want to know something. If you made it to the end, comment below. Discipline is my path. That way I'll know who really followed this journey through to the end and is committed to applying these principles in their own life. If this video brought you some important reflection, leave a like. It's a simple way of showing that this content created value and helps the channel keep bringing deeper discussions about discipline, mental strength, self-control, and personal development. And there's one more thing many people end up overlooking. Down below is the hype button. When you press that button, you're signaling that this content deserves more visibility on the platform. In practice, you're helping this kind of message reach other people who are also searching for more discipline, clarity, and purpose in life. It's a quick way to strengthen a community that values real growth over passing distractions. And don't forget the complimentary resource I mentioned during the video, The Path of Japanese Discipline. It was prepared for those who want to go deeper into these principles and turn these ideas into practical actions in daily life. Access is available in the description, but it may not stay up for long, so it's worth checking it out while it's still available. Now, before you go, there's a video right here next to this one that perfectly complements everything we talked about today. If this topic sparked something in you, click on it and stay with me there. I have a feeling the next reflection might be exactly what you need to hear right now. See you soon.